First up on the show, in a big jolt to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, UK's opposition Labour Party delivered two crushing by-election defeats to the ruling Conservatives. They have overturned big Tory majorities and secured victories in Wellingborough and in Kingswood. In the Wellingborough district, Labour secured the parliamentary seat by clinching over 13,000 votes compared to 7,000 votes for the Tories. In Kingswood, Labour was victorious with over 11,000 votes, with the Conservative candidate receiving only 8,000 votes. With this, the Tories have suffered 10 by-election losses in the course of this parliament, more than any previous government since the 1960s. Today's double defeat indicates that the Labour Party has a good chance of winning the upcoming general elections. Rishi Sunak's Conservative Party continues to face increasing criticism amid economic recession and rising costs. Labour leader Keir Starmer said the results showed people want change and are ready to trust the Labour Party to deliver it. Conservative leaders have meanwhile insisted that the UK public is still not fond of the Labour Party. And we're now being joined by Julia Chapman for the very latest on these by-election wins for the Labour and a major setback once again for the Tories. Julia, as we pointed out, there have been 10 such by-election defeats for them in this parliament alone.
Yes, quite a stark record for the ruling Conservative Party, losing so many seats, despite the fact that they came into this parliament with a fairly comfortable majority. We are seeing that being chipped away with each by-election that is held as Labour takes 2 more seats in Parliament at these by-elections, swinging in 1 seat by 28%, a seat that used to be a comfortable, safe Conservative Party seat. These are not so-called red wall seats that we're talking about, that group of constituencies in the north of England that have traditionally voted Labour but voted Conservative, many for the first time when Boris Johnson came into power. These are pretty safe Conservative seats and have been for a couple of decades. So it is a big loss for the Conservative Party, and one that many are saying is an indicator of its fate later this year when the country is expected to hold a general election. Nevertheless, we've been hearing senior Conservative figures this morning saying that that is not the case, that this isn't an indicator, that they still have a chance of success in that vote. They point to the low turnout in both of these by-elections. 37% and 38% of registered voters respectively came out to the polls. But certainly the fact that there was such a big swing, at least in Wellingborough, will be very difficult reading for the Conservative Party this morning. It's been a challenging week with the country having a recession confirmed yesterday in the second half of last year. That economic data coming out on Thursday really suggesting that the government hasn't managed to stimulate the growth that it had promised. One of Rishi Sunak's 5 big promises going into an election year was to get the economy growing. So it has been a difficult week. Nevertheless, it has been difficult for Labour as well. The fact that it managed to secure these by-election victories despite an anti-Semitism scandal in the party, leading Labour to drop a by-election candidate for another by-election later this month, which means that it won't, if it wins that seat, have yet another MP in Parliament. That would have to be an independent MP now. So both sides, both parties have been facing their respective struggles, but certainly this is a pretty decisive result for Labour, and depending on who you ask, really a suggestion of what could be coming later this year.
Right, Julia, thanks very much indeed for joining us with the very latest and keeping up to speed with what's happening in the UK. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.